ever get that feeling. Like you want to really understand something, like the core of a story, but without wading through every little detail.
Right.
That's kind of the whole point of what we're doing here on the deep dive.
Yeah, we dig through all the stuff, pick out the really good bits, and deliver it straight to you.
Exactly. A fast track to knowledge.
It's like a carefully curated path to being really in the know. And for today, our path leads us straight into the world of Philip Pullman's The Firework-Maker's Daughter.
One of my favorites. We've been diving into articles, research, all sorts of stuff around this book. And our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to really figure out what makes this story tick. What about the characters? What about their journey? And the ideas behind it all?
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. And just a quick note for anyone who might not be familiar with Philip Pullman, he's a pretty famous English author, probably best known for his Dark Materials, that amazing series.
Oh, so good.
So here's the thing. Pullman himself actually considers The Firework-Maker's Daughter one of his, shorter fairy tales.
Huh. Interesting.
Which kind of sets the stage for the kind of story we're about to unpack.
And speaking of fairy tales, that's where I think we should start. Pullman's whole idea of this book as a fairy tale, not just your typical once upon a time kind of thing. It's more about stories where the impossible becomes possible.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Right. And where these, incredible events happen and the main character, they're always being tested, right? Facing trials and stuff. It's a classic formula.
And the setting, just the setting alone, feels straight out of a fairy tale.
Totally.
All our sources talk about it being east of the jungle and south of the mountains. That's all you need to know.
I know, right? It's so vague, but it just paints this picture in your head.
Exactly. It's like that timeless, almost dreamlike, long ago and far away kind of vibe.
It really draws you in, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
What's interesting is that some of the sources actually suggest that Pullman might have been inspired by ancient Asia or Indonesia, for that setting.
It makes sense. That kind of mystical, far-off land vibe.
Totally. And it just sets the stage for a story where anything can happen. That's the beauty of fairy tales, right?
Totally. And right in the heart of this magical setting, we meet our leading lady, Lila. She's like the spark that sets this whole story on fire.
I love that.
Yeah.
She's definitely the heart and soul of this book. From the very beginning, she's obsessed with firework making.
Oh, totally obsessed.
It's not just a hobby for her, right? It's her whole world. She grows up in her father's workshop, learning the craft.
And she's not just any ordinary kid learning a trade. She's super determined.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's strong-willed, she's brave, and she goes after what she wants, even if everyone else thinks it's a bad idea.
Which is so cool, especially for a girl in that time and place.
Exactly. She's breaking down those traditional roles that everyone expects her to fit into. Like, in so many old stories, a girl with ambitions like hers. Unheard of. But Lila, she doesn't care. She goes for it, which makes her such an amazing character, especially for younger readers who might be feeling like they don't fit the mold.
Totally. She's all about blazing your own trail. And speaking of, let's talk about her dad, Lalchand.
Oh, yeah, her dad. He's a piece of work.
So he's a firework maker too, right?
Yep, he is.
Oh.
But here's the kicker. He's got this really traditional mindset, which makes things a bit complicated.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Right. He thinks firework making is no place for a girl. He'd much rather see Lila get married, settle down, the whole traditional deal.
Oh, I know that type. But of course, Lila has other plans.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
She's not about to let anyone tell her what she can and can't do. And that clash between her ambitions and her father's expectations is what drives the story forward.
The classic generational clash.
Totally. And then, to make things even more interesting, later in the story, Lalchand ends up in prison.
Oh, right. It's like everything shifts for him at that point.
Yeah, that's a turning point for him. He starts to see things differently. He sees Lila's talent, her bravery, and he realizes that maybe, just maybe, he was wrong.
It's like he has to go through his own struggles to understand where Lila's coming from.
It's a journey for him. And it teaches us something important. We should always be open to changing our minds, to recognizing the potential in others, even if it doesn't fit our preconceived notions.
So true. And speaking of journeys, Lila doesn't face hers alone, right? She's got some pretty amazing friends along for the ride.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's Chulak, her best friend, who also happens to be the caretaker of the king's white elephant, Hamlet.
What a job.
Right. And Chulak, he's not just some sidekick. He's loyal, obviously, but he's also a bit of a rebel himself.
I like him already.
And resourceful, always thinking on his feet.
Yeah.
And, he's got this quick wit about him, always ready with a funny comment.
He sounds like a great addition to the team.
Absolutely. And he doesn't just tag along for the fun of it.
Mhm.
He actively helps Lila on her quest. In fact, he's the one who ends up finding the secret ingredient she needs for her fireworks.
No way, what a legend.
And you know what's cool? Just like Lochind, Chulak goes through his own transformation throughout the story. He grows alongside Lila.
It's amazing how the side characters can be just as complex as the main ones.
Totally.
Yeah.
And their friendship is a huge part of what makes the story so special. It shows how important it is to have people who believe in you, who support you, especially when you're trying to achieve something that seems impossible.
It's like a real power team. And then there's Hamlet, the talking white elephant.
Yeah, he's something else.
You don't see that every day.
It's that classic fairy tale element. Talking animals, magic, the impossible becomes possible.
And only Lila and Chulak can understand him, right?
Yeah, it's like their special connection.
That's so cool. So he becomes their ally, right?
Yeah.
Helping them out.
Oh, absolutely. He's a huge help, always offering advice, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. And get this, he's got a thing for another elephant, Frangipani.
Wait, really? The elephant has a love interest?
Yeah, it's adorable. It adds this whole layer of, whimsy to the story. Even elephants can find love.
I love it. It just emphasizes that magical, anything is possible vibe. Okay, so we've got Lila with her big dreams, her dad who's slowly coming around, and her amazing friends. But there's got to be a big challenge, right? Some obstacle she needs to overcome to really become a firework maker.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Uh-uh.
Vani, the fire demon. He lives up on Mount Merapi, this super dangerous volcano.
Yikes. Sounds intense.
And get this, he's the guardian of the royal sulfur. It's this super rare ingredient that all the best firework makers need.
Of course it's guarded by a fire demon. Why wouldn't it be?
Right, it's like the ultimate test.
Yeah.
Our sources describe him as this terrifying, powerful being, like the embodiment of the final challenge.
So does Lila have to, fight him, outsmart him?
That's the interesting part.
Yeah.
It's not a straightforward battle. Rizvani, he's not just some mindless monster.
Okay, so what's the deal with him then?
He's got this whole system. He believes that true firework makers have these 3 gifts.
3 gifts? What are they?
We'll get to that. But the point is, it's not about bringing him some offering or defeating him in a fight. It's about proving that you have these inner qualities.
It's like a test of character, not strength.
Exactly. And this is where the story gets deep. It's saying that real mastery isn't about what you have or what you can do, but who you are on the inside.
It's a powerful message. So how does it all play out? Give me the rundown of Lila's journey.
Okay, so Lila wants to be a firework maker, right? But her dad won't give her the final secret.
Typical dad move.
So she decides to take matters into her own hands. She's going to get that royal sulfur from Razvani herself.
What a brave kid.
I know, right? So she sets off on this epic quest to Mount Merapi.
Doesn't sound like a walk in the park.
Not at all. And of course, no hero's journey is complete without some bumps along the way. She runs into pirates on this ship called the Bloody Murderer.
The Bloody Murderer.
Yeah, I know, right? Sounds terrifying.
So what happens with the pirates?
Well, they're actually kind of funny, in a piratey way.
Yeah.
But Lila outsmarts them. She uses her wits to escape.
I knew she could handle it.
Oh yeah, she's got this in the bag. So after the pirates, she has to actually climb Mount Merapi, which is super dangerous. It's a huge test of her strength and determination.
Must have been terrifying.
But she keeps going. Finally, she reaches Razvani. But here's the thing. She doesn't have those 3 gifts he talked about. She also doesn't have this special magic water that she thought she needed.
Oh no. So what happens?
Just when things look bleak, Chulak and Hamlet show up.
They come to the rescue.
They do. And they brought the magic water with them. They got it from the goddess of the Emerald Lake.
Talk about a last-minute save.
I know, right? So the water protects Lila from Rizvani's fiery breath. But then something amazing happens. Rizvani tells her that she already has the 3 gifts.
No way. Really?
Yeah, he explains that they're not physical things, they're qualities. The first is talent, which she clearly has. The second is courage, which she's shown throughout her whole journey.
Makes sense. And the third?
Luck. He says she's got a good dose of that too.
I mean, she did survive pirates and a volcano.
Right. And then he tells her that the royal sulfur isn't just an ingredient. It represents wisdom, the knowledge you gain from experience.
So it's not just about making fireworks, it's about understanding the deeper meaning behind it all.
Exactly. So Lila gets the royal sulfur and heads back home, feeling pretty good about herself. But when she arrives, she finds out that her dad has been thrown in jail.
Oh no! What happened?
It turns out Hamlet, bless his heart, wandered off and caused a bit of a ruckus.
Oh, Hamlet.
So now Lila has to find a way to get her dad out of jail.
Mm.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Oh.
She decides to enter this huge firework festival,
Like a competition.
the biggest one there is.
Wow. High stakes.
But here's the twist. She and her dad have to work together.
That's a huge change from him wanting her to just get married.
It is. It shows how much he's changed. So they put their heads together and
Yeah.
create this incredible firework display called the Foaming Moss.
The foaming moss. Sounds pretty epic.
It is. They win the competition, of course, and Lao Chin gets released from jail.
That's so awesome. A happy ending for everyone.
Totally. And it's more than just a victory. It represents Lila finally achieving her dream, but also gaining her father's respect and recognition.
It's like everything comes full circle. So taking a step back, what are the big takeaways from this story? What are the themes that stick with you?
There's so much to unpack.
For sure, but if you had to pick a few,
Okay, well, first, there's that classic theme of determination.
never give up on your dreams.
Exactly, no matter what obstacles you face.
Yeah.
And then there's courage, obviously. Lila facing pirates, volcanoes, fire demons. She's got guts.
Oh yeah, definitely brave.
And then there's friendship. Lila, Chulak, and Hamlet, they're such a great team. They support each other through everything.
Friendship goals.
Right. And then there's this idea of challenging expectations. Lila breaks the mold. She shows that girls can do anything boys can do.
She's such a great role model.
Totally. And it's also a story about believing in yourself.
Mm.
Lila learns to trust her own instincts, her own abilities.
It's like an inner journey as much as an outer one.
Exactly. And then there's that whole idea of the three gifts.
That really stuck with me.
It tells us that talent, courage, and luck are more than just things that happen to you. They're qualities you can develop, cultivate within yourself.
I love that.
And it's a message that I think resonates with everyone, especially young people who are trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do with their lives.
It's a story that really stays with you. Now, what about Pullman himself? We talked about how he was a school teacher before he became a full-time writer. Do you think that influenced his writing, especially his stories for kids?
Oh, absolutely. Spending all that time with kids, he really got to know what makes them tick, what stories grab their attention, what lessons resonate with them. And, he said himself that he considers The Firework-Maker's Daughter a classic fairy tale. And fairy tales, they have this amazing way of teaching us deep truths in a way that's both entertaining and easy to understand.
That's so true. Fairy tales can be so profound.
Totally. They're not just for kids.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into The Firework-Maker's Daughter, why do you think this story continues to be so popular? What makes it so special?
I think it's a combination of things. First, it's just a really good story. It's exciting, it's imaginative, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. But it's also about something more than just adventure.
It's got depth.
It does. It teaches us about the importance of determination, courage, and friendship. And it shows us that it's okay to be different, to go after your dreams, even if they seem impossible.
It's a story that inspires you to be your best self.
Exactly. And I think that's why people keep coming back to it.
It's definitely one of those stories that you never forget. And on that note, for those of you listening, I want you to think about Lila and her journey. She discovered her own three gifts, her talent, courage, and luck. What are yours? What are the qualities that make you unique, that drive you to achieve your goals? Maybe this deep dive has inspired you to think about a dream that you thought was impossible. Maybe it's time to dust it off and give it another shot. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of The Firework-Maker's Daughter.
It's been a blast.
Until next time.